Eyes on your enemies, your hands on your strap. Shit bigger than rap, nigga.
Gangsta grill, gangsta.
I know you ain't for me, I can see it in your eyes. If you say it for me now, I wouldn't even be surprised. Everybody ain't real, and I had to realize that you hating ass nigga, just the devil in disguise. Oh, say no evil, hear no evil. Can me ride dolo, I got 2 desert eagles. Oh, say no evil, hear no evil. Can me outshot and I got 2 desert eagles. Steve the J face, so you pussy niggas. I'm focused, grab my slug, tell my body crush them all. They roaches, younger had them niggas hunt your head down like poachers, have them looking for your ass in broad day. They roaches, yo, what the fuck's with all the hate? That's easy, I tell you, pussy nigga to your face. Can't be me, real nigga all day, every day. That's cheesy, got love before this hip hop shit. That's me, nigga, I can feel the hate in the air. I smell it, fucking mean what I know about hope. I sell it, tears God protect me from these demon niggas. They evil, why you think them streets praying for you, nigga? They need you. I know you ain't for me, I can see it in your eyes. If you say it for me now, I wouldn't even be surprised. Everybody ain't real, and I had to realize that you hating ass nigga, just the devil in disguise. Oh, say no evil, hear no evil. Can me ride dolo, I got 2 desert eagles. Don't say no evil, hear no evil. Can me outshot and I got 2 desert eagles. Nigga want me over like movie credits. I know it. All that real nigga shit you nigga talking, I'm for it. Nigga long I got air in my lungs, I'm grinding. Lord, how you came back and slayed these niggas. Good timing. Know this anything different by my watch. No diamonds. Wrong man shit on you little niggas. Still shining. Tell you one thing I learned about life. Keep moving, drunk a whole half a gallon last night. I'm ruined. Niggas worry about you, worry about themselves. That's backwards, man. Half these niggas ain't need theyself. They act the nigga. Everything I learned in the streets is with me. Niggas don't like the way a nigga eat. Come get me. What? I know you ain't for me, I can see it in your eyes. If you say it for me now, I wouldn't even be surprised. Everybody ain't real, and I had to realize that you hating ass nigga, just the devil in disguise. Oh, say no evil, hear no evil. Can me ride dolo, I got 2 desert eagles. Don't say no evil, hear no evil. Can me outshot and I got 2 desert eagles.
Once again the song. It's Hood Tales with ConeHead. Another episode 55. I am your host, ConeHead. I'm coming to you live and direct and in full effect. Just want to thank the Lord for another day. Thank the Lord for another opportunity and another possibility to get things right in your life and get things right with Him. This is episode 55, and this is a smooth one. And the title is "You Gotta Help You." And the reason why I came up with this title is because, lately things have been kind of, topsy-turvy for me. But, for the most part, it's just having an idea to find a way to help yourself sometimes when, when you have to be able to depend on you. Everybody's not going to be able to help you. Everybody's not going to be able to support you. And everybody's not going to be able to, what's the saying, hold you down. So sometimes you have to hold yourself down. Sometimes you have to make sure you okay. And you have to persevere and get through it all, sometimes alone. And it's not bad being alone. It's not bad doing it, getting God to help you do it yourself. Because that's what, separate the men from the boys, you know what I'm saying, or the women from the girls. And so, you know, just things that's been going on with me. I just really had to, you know, sit down and think, and I did a lot of thinking over the last couple of weeks. And it's just part of the process, like, you know, I had to come up with an idea on how to get back in the groove of things and get that momentum going, that positive momentum, because I had a lot of positive momentum going on in the beginning of the year. Like 2022 came out like a beast, and it was just like, man, it was on a roll. I accomplished a lot of things that I needed to get accomplished, and I accomplished a lot of things that was necessary for my, you know, survival in my existence. And, you know, I had a lot of support, don't get me wrong, but, you know, God allowed me to get a lot of stuff accomplished and a lot of things done. And it seemed like when you take like 10 steps forward, it seems like sometimes you get hit 30 steps backwards because of certain things that happen, you know, a lot of times beyond your control, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, you have to realize that everything we try to do and everything that we hope and pray to do, you know, sometimes it takes a little bit more elbow grease, a little bit more prayer, a little bit more belief, and a little bit more faith to get it done and see it through. Because a lot of times, you know, we have people that's in our lives, and we have people that support us, and we have people that believe in us. But sometimes at the end of the day, it still takes you to keep on going. It takes you to take them necessary steps. You know, God say you take the first two and I'll carry you the rest of the way. And sometimes, you know, we take things and we pray and we ask God for the help. And then it seems like, you know, the human side of us decides to get in the way and say, you know, hold on, let me try this, let me do this. And there's nothing wrong with, you know, helping yourself, you know, because most of the time you have to. It's necessary. And, you know, but a lot of times when we pray about things and then we seem like we be Indian givers, we take it back. And I think that's one of my problems, because I'm so used to doing things and, well, in my mind, doing things and helping things for myself and helping things for people that matter to me the most. But the funny thing is sometimes when you pray and you try to take it back, or you feel like God not speeding it up, the process to get what you want or get what you need, you know, inadvertently try to do things a different way. And sometimes those plans don't work. But God bless the child that has his own. It's good to be self-sufficient and independent and being able to do those things, but we got to remember we got to put him first. He'll show us the way and he'll guide us. And whatever we trying to do, if it's not working, even if we forcing it, it might be a sign from him saying that, nah, that ain't the way. You know, God's way is the best way. But you have to learn that you have to be able to help yourself. You got to be able to do for yourself. Like, you know, no disrespect to my parents, no disrespect to the people who support, love, and honor me. Not like an idol, but honor me because of the man that I am. But I know my mom and a lot of people be trying to push the job over a lot. And I just be like, man, that's not my way. That's not the way that it's intended for me to get it. I've been self-sufficient and independent since I was 13. And I took the routes that I took based off of what I feel like I was supposed to do. You know, a lot of people are not going to understand your journey. A lot of people are not going to understand why you think the way you think, why you see things the way you see things, and why you believe what you believe. But that's between you and your Heavenly Father. Like, real talk, like, people don't understand why the streets made more sense to me than just, you know, getting up and pushing another person's agenda as far as like working a job. Like, for me, I said again, I watched my parents do their own thing. And that's where the entrepreneurship came from, watching them. Growing up under their tutelage and seeing them do what they do. And it was just amazing how, my mom was a, young black woman in a, not so fond community, like county and community. But she made her mark and left her mark and left her legacy. And so did my father. And, Pops did his thing, even though he was a paper mill soldier. He did his thing with the little mechanics, the auto mechanics. And I watched him and my uncles day in, day out, night in, night out, rain, hail, sleet, snow, work on cars. Whether it was in the yard or when they had their little shop. But I watched them. And that's where it come from, the drive and the ambition come from. So when I had to tell my parents, like, look, I got to do this my way. I got to do this the way it's intended for me to do it. And it's not no disrespect or no, backbite on what they think. But, my parents grew up in a different era than I grew up in. Things for them was way rougher than it is for us now. But at the same time, you have to walk your walk and you have to do what you have to do. So I chose to help myself. Wow. Indulging in the streets and indulging in the work field for a while. I worked a few jobs, fast food, different things like that. I worked at UPS at one time. I've done other things, but the majority of my life I was street raised and street groomed and street soldiers. And I prospered in that life. And not smarter than anybody, I would say, and not cause people was before me thought they was smart. People before me thought they figured it out and learned how to do it a different way from the generation before them. But it's just all about your approach and the technique you choose. Because at the end of the day, shit set up for you to lose in the streets. And when I decided to get out and get my merchant seaman credentials and get my TOEIC and my firearm license, it was something monumental because a lot of my peers and a lot of my friends and family had got caught up in the streets. So for me, it was just like, wow, like this shit hitting close to home. So I got to switch this thing up to be able to do. But I said that prayer, asking God to give me a career where I can make the same amount of money without looking over my shoulders. And that's where the merchant seaman school, that's where all that came into play. And I enjoyed the career that I had at that moment in time. But then business opportunities came up for restaurants and stuff like that. And I'm a hell of a cook. You know what I'm saying? So I love cooking. There's a lot of things that I can multitask and do. A lot of things. I have a lot of blessed talents and skills. Even though my first love was basketball and I didn't go professional or make it to college. Got kicked out the freshman high school team. Even though I was a varsity, I would have been playing varsity basketball. I didn't get to achieve that success as far as, because my grades weren't bad, but that it just showed me that, you gotta take school as best as you can. Even though now that I'm older and I'm an adult, and I see that a lot of the stuff that they taught us in school really don't apply in our day-to-day life in the world that we live in, the world that we come from. Math is important. Reading comprehension and stuff like that is important. Language arts is important and stuff like that. But a lot of the shit they taught us, we didn't even need for survival, because it's about survival now. Because once you leave the nest, it's all about survival. Now you got to be able to put it together and make a way and do the things that's necessary to survive. Like when you don't want to be up under your parents' rule no more, shit, you got to find somewhere to stay. And when you find somewhere to stay, you got to be able to maintain that place and pay that monthly bill, which is called rent. And then once you graduate and elevate, you might end up having a mortgage, or you might end up being even smarter than that and have the cash to buy the place, and you just deed the shit and it's yours. So those are the things that we have to understand and learn as time goes by, but they don't teach us that in school. They don't teach us money management. They don't teach us. They teach us economics, but it's only but so much they learn you. They don't tell you. They don't show you the chart on stocks. They don't show you how to invest. They don't show you anything about real estate investments and stuff like that. You have to learn that once you leave school and choose a career path at times. You know, a lot of people got diplomas and a lot of people got degrees, and they're not in their field, they're not using them, and it's not prospering, benefiting them at all. It's just a piece of paper that you can say you got, but you don't, a lot of them not applying it because the way the world's set up is not the way the school explained to us. It's set up way different than school. School just was a place for them to sit you down and tell you, hey, go get a job. Go be a worker. Get a, do this, do that. No one ever taught them entrepreneurship. And, some people are going to agree to disagree to think that, well, somebody's got to work. Somebody's got to do it. Who else is there? But shouldn't have to be you. It's millions of people on this earth. And some people don't want to do things that way. Some people want to be able to just be like, let me get my 8 and skate. Let me clock in. And once I clock in, clock out and bend and dip, some people like myself, it didn't make sense to me to work for someone else to make their family wealthy and make their generational wealth grow when I want to start and build my own generational wealth for my family. And everybody's not going to be inclined and in tune to that. And everybody's not going to think like that, and everybody's not going to believe. But, God gave me that instinct. God gave me that idea. And God gave me the opportunity to have a mindset to think like that. But He groomed me through my parents. I saw it through my parents. That's why some of the businesses that we did have and some of the businesses that I have been a part of, even my own, I had a cleaning service that was actually really successful. It's just that I wanted to get back in my career. I wanted to go travel and go to different cities and different countries if, Lord would permit me to get the traveling passport. I wasn't, I'm not going to say cautious or wasn't really, what's the word I want to use? Like, I didn't think things through when it came to my kids, and it wasn't like they were planned. Like, I didn't sit down with these women and executed a game plan for these kids to be here. When I got in those situations, and the end result was I got to take care of children, that was more of okay, let me figure out how I can do this. But the streets was already there, so I was already, doing my part, doing what I can to provide, and then when I got older and realized a lot of that shit that the streets was showing me was the truth, like, okay, well, let me take a step back. So now I gotta adjust and realign my plan, but I still was able to do it the way I wanted to do it, and that was self-sufficient and being independent. It feels good to open up your restaurant and prep and cut your fry, get your kitchen ready and warm for you to get through the day. And I was blessed to be able to do it with a cafe and a crab shack. Like, The crab shack would have been a blessing if things would have just fell in place. You know, we was like, I get out of that little sitting in jail thing to walk into a business, and it was cool and it was dope. And, I enjoyed that ride, even though it wasn't, profitable like we wanted it to be, even though it wasn't the way that we envisioned it. Nothing beats a failure but a try. We had to help ourselves because, like, we both was in the position. One of my business partners, we was in that position with this situation of this case, and we had to learn the hard way that them people were not giving you no chance. They're not gonna forget you. Like, we ain't even been convicted of anything, found guilty of anything or nothing. And I'm not a convicted felon by a long shot. I'm still blessed at 43 to not have the F on my report card, but it taught me something. It's like, society really don't forgive you, and that's why a lot of guys that get in those situations, they go right back. They don't last long on the streets because the time that you missing, that's the time that you're out of tune with reality. Because your reality is where you was at when you had to yell out your number every day and had to be in there and had to, adjust to that life of being in that place like that. And so that's why it's crazy that, like, when people expect people to come home from that environment and that's a heightened environment. Like, that's an environment where, anything can happen. And you have to be on your toes. You have to head on the swivel. You can't trust everybody. And, it's a high volatile situation. So you coming from that type of environment to the outside world. And it's like you got to reprogram yourself to be out here on the outside world. And you might, what they call, paid your debt to society by doing some time that really is a waste, because all that shit does is groom you to be a worse criminal than some of them make you a criminal with before you was even a criminal. And it just teaches you how to even go harder to do, the opposite of what they tried to put you in that place for. And so when you paid your debt, you still don't get no break. You still don't get forgiven. You still don't, even if you was innocent and you just decided to get it out of the way, you didn't want to waste, feel like you was afraid. Instead of trusting in God, you was afraid to do this and do that. You just said, fuck it, I'm going to just run with this situation. And you take it and you go, and then you come home and it's like you still fighting to be respected, because at the end of the day, shit, them people, the society not like concerned about whether you was rehabilitated or not, because they hold it against you once you get that. They don't let you forget it. They don't let you live. Like, a lot of times people try to help themselves, and it's hard because you got this thing over your head about you did some time, whether it's jail or you went to prison or you went to federal prison. Like, it still, resonates in your residue. Like, you still leave residue of that felony on your background where you have to apply. A lot of men find themselves going right back in the revolving door, because after a while, trying to find a job is difficult. Like, the only thing you can look at is you got money put up when you come home and start your own shit. You'll be sitting there waiting and depending on someone else to give you a paycheck, and then it ain't gonna be something that you enjoy doing. They're gonna either have you doing physical manual labor like construction, or remodeling homes. Somebody might get you on with that, or they're gonna have you working in fast food, or they're gonna have you in a warehouse job, or they're gonna have you in something where you in a sweat box every day and you breaking your back and killing yourself to survive. And I don't knock those who do that type of work. Hats off to you, but I just didn't believe in watching someone else family get rich, and when my family could be rich too and wealthy, and I could lead them 7 generations of wealth for my generations, for my children's children. Like, I get that. So, you have to help yourself sometimes. You have to be able to maintain and do for you. You have to be able to make those decisions that put you in a winning position and not just exist. I don't want to just exist. I want to leave a mark that said I was here. Not just through my children, but through the actions and the efforts that I put in to put things in place, like businesses and philanthropy and things like that. To give back and help people. To be able to pull that same person who has a hard time finding employment, to give them a way in to, hey, man, you can work for this company and you have promotional privileges where you go through the ranks and you can get up there and be a board member one day, And that's something that, hopefully God's will, I'll be able to do one day, to be a blessing to the world and show people that, man, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. Because nothing is impossible for God. God can do anything that man might say is not doable. Like, he can bring you out of darkness into the marvelous light. He can bring you out of those situations where you're locked in chain, and he can break every chain and you walk out and you become anew. But it's all about your mindset as well. You have to renew your mind. You have to believe. You have to, envision these things. You have to have these wonderful ideas. And sometimes, you'll sit down and it'll just pop up in your head. I know what, let me try to do this. And it was given to you for a reason. But it will come out of the sky. God blessed you with that idea to do it. Sometimes we'll say we did, but it was God in the end, ultimately, that sparked that brain for you to think outside that box that the world try to put us in and society try to put us in that box. But the thing about you helping yourself is just applying yourself, believing in yourself, and working toward being self-sufficient and independent, if that's the way you want to go. Now, everybody's not going to agree because everybody is different. God made us as individuals. So as individuals, we're going to think different, we're going to act different, and we're going to respond different to things. Like when you watch those TV shows about, murder and things like that, and the first thing, the cops decide is the closest person to them mostly is the suspect until proven otherwise. And it'd be funny how they make their own assumption about how, this, and then the first thing they throw into the equation why this person ended up dead was because this person killed them for some money. And that's the motive. It's usually always the motive when a spouse kills, a spouse is dead and they think the other spouse that's living did it, or it's an affair and then the money, you know what I'm saying? So, they already have it in their mind that you're a suspect. So if your wife dies or your husband dies, automatically you become the suspect if they find out that, if the coroner believes it's foul play or it's murder or something like that. So then they'll sit there and say, okay, well, you're the spouse. What couldn't they gain? Oh, you got y'all both sat down and signed these fucking policies. These people wasn't even there for none of this shit. Unless you did it behind, on your own. And it just be funny because you could sit down with your significant other and do paperwork and sign life insurance policies for whatever amount you want, as long as you pay that shit every month. But then when the person dies, that first thing, they thinking that's, they killed them. They did something, poison or whatever. And that's fucked up, but that's the way it is. But, with that being said, you have to know that at the end of the day, no one was there when y'all set these things in motion. And sometimes accidents happen, and sometimes people just be like, fuck it, kill them. You know what I'm saying? I gotta get rid of them. But sometimes it's not about the money and why those things happen. It could just be like they don't see no other way of being there or getting out. Because, you know, divorce is high. Divorce rate way higher than marriage. So at the end of the day, shit, you already know what it is. But for the most part, you have to help yourself. You have to do the things necessary for you in your situation and circumstances. And if you have a support system, that's even better. That's awesome. But for the majority of us, a lot of us don't have support systems. We don't have, people that's in our corner like that. So we have to adjust and learn. Like, we have to ask God to help us and let God bless us. That's for the most part. But with that being said, thank you for taking the time out your day to listen to my podcast, Hood Tales with ConeHead. And hopefully, I can continue to be consistent. God gave me this idea to create this podcast, and I'm 55 episodes in. And one of these is going to go viral, and somebody's going to hear it that needs to hear it, and they're going to tell someone, and they're going to tell someone, and then, boom. I have my YouTube platform for 1 million subscribers and 1 million views and things of that nature. It's coming. It's just got to be consistent, because I had to learn that consistency pays off in the end if you're doing something you love to do. It's not work. It's love. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, I appreciate y'all taking out y'all time, and I guess I'll holler back at you. Peace.
Let's trying to figure out what's wrong with me. Trying to do this little thing long distance. No place like home when I'm gone, miss me. Just know that it's our business. Hey, getting questioned by the call I ain't get. Hey, getting text or talking this shit. Hey, getting caught, but it is what it is. I'm a pimp to a hoe and a dog to a bitch. Also a man to a woman. I don't often admit, but I get lost in this shit. Yeah, why go somebody talking about kids and I ain't got one. Really want three. Still really want threesomes in the middle of the week. Still dealing with issues from dealing in the streets. Still owe me, devoted so much time. That what Monica told her. I can't promise to hold you. My heart so cold that the thermometer froze. Every time I'm gone, look, I'm not with no hoes. Yeah, I know how this shit go. I can't lie, she been on my mind. Even my mama don't know. Fuck you. Arguing over little to nothing, fighting over the last words. Who can overreact worse? Who can pack up their bags first? I'm looking forward to looking back, just to laugh at that last verse. That or my love lost and not knowing what I had was worth. I'm still a dog and I ain't finna quit. I know some damn bitches that ain't worth 10 cents. Fuck. All in my section drinking my shit. I mean, fuck is you doing? She keep calling, she wants to argue. She keep calling, she wants to argue about me not calling. Or me not calling, eating up, I'm busy, I must be ballin'. She don't get it, I'm grinding, trying to keep us from starving. Ain't no 9 to 5 gon' supply all that fancy shit I go buy. All them bags she loves so much. All them places she like to dine. She think my day consists of me digging in 1,000 bitches. Truth is I'm in the studio 10-hour blocks until the hour finish. It's so hard to concentrate and deal with home even when I'm gone. She feel neglected, she all alone, and starting to show that she's not as strong. Not as strong as I wish she was, and I do all of this shit for us. Ain't no groupies, ain't no side hoes. I gave up all of that shit for her. I gave up all of that shit for love, just so she can say I ain't did enough. So she can tell me I never call her, I never text. I'm like, what the fuck? I carry the world on both my shoulders and manage to still hold both her hands. She wants me to lift her up, but I need her to help me stand. Godspeed. Yeah, right now you in the mix with DJ Logan Garrett.